Cool. I think I'm recording as well.
Okay, hold on a sec. I need to add a title. Okay. Looks like it.
So we're going to try and keep this to what, to half an hour? 20 minutes? How long do you want?
Yeah, as we go. Let's see how we go. I think we're live. I should actually check on my phone, see what that looks like. So there's always a bit of a delay before it all goes live. But I think it is going live now. It says we are live online. Welcome. So, Mr. Skip Archimedes, I'm just having a look over here to see how it's looking on our screen. Actually, it hasn't shown me it's live just yet, but I think it's gone live. I'm just looking over there. It doesn't look like I've seen it just yet. So, what's going on there? John Abbott.
Right, I'm on your page, and yeah, you're live on my page. Yeah, you're there.
Beautiful. Okay, good. That's, I'm glad Facebook helped me do that well. Mr. Skip Archimedes, welcome to the call, and awesome to have you here. We're going to do a little tune in and a little conversation about what you get up to and how people can come play a bit more with you. And I want to start by introducing you and saying to everybody who's watching here that Skip and I connected a few years ago now, and I've been watching and listening to the conversation that Skip gets into, and kind of watching his life. And over the last few years, observing all sorts of extraordinary journeys that he goes on, and he doesn't do anything sort of like half at it. He does everything at full pace, full speed, everything in. And you know, you've got to find, you know, you find that when you meet people like this, you just know that they're up for the game. No matter what's going to show up, they're going to find the beautiful messages. As Skip said to me just recently, he said, the one thing I do no matter what shows up is find at least one thing, just one positive outcome of whatever that catastrophe may have been. Yeah, he's known as a man. He's introduced as this extraordinary human who broke his back, was told he cannot walk again, and went through an extraordinary journey. And you can kind of get an imagination of what that extraordinary journey would be for you to then come back, you know, learn to regain all of that reconnection back to your whole body, heal yourself naturally, and then come back. And he went back to the sport that actually created the breakdown, which was gymnastics, only to 18 months later get one of the top coaches in the world to coach him to the #1 podium. So that is an introduction for the beautiful human being. Welcome to the call, Mr. Skip Archimedes.
Brother, and thank you for the intro. Much appreciated.
It's a pleasure, man. So I'm gonna start by giving a quick experience from my side, and then let's get a little into the conversation. So just over a month and a half ago, Skip ran a program called Breakthrough Marshbeam in Singapore that Estelle and I went and attended, and there was about 30 or 40 odd other people who were attending it as well, many of them from that part of the world. And the promise of the program for me, which was the reason why I really wanted to see what was going on there, or what I could experience, was how to activate energy or activate different parts of your body to create, an extraordinary flow of energy, an extraordinary flow of life, reconnection to, our maker, whatever you want to call him, reconnection to purpose. And of course, for me, I think the big part of it was having a look to see what else I could be learning, because a lot of that stuff that was there that people were talking about, I felt I was already doing. Only to come out of it and find out that what the power that I have inside of me was far greater than I ever thought or experienced in my life. And I found ways of realigning myself, my body, my mind, my spirit, in just consistent ways, over not only that time, but also over the next few weeks and the last month and a half, where the flow of that energy has really kind of, it was like the preparation. It's like we're going to go and have that boxing match, or whatever you want to call it. It's going to do the 100-meter sprint, but we've got to prepare for it. And that was like the preparation. I didn't know it was, but I now, in hindsight, have 20/20 vision that was my preparation for what we are about to take on this year. And everything has then started flooding towards us having to be able to handle and to manage a large step up in our business, a big step up in our relationship, and all sorts of things that have come in to challenge us to step it up. And I'd say, Skip, I as much as I really had a sense that was the game I wanted to play, I didn't know what the game I was really willing to play. And until I put myself in there, and Steph and I put ourselves in there, only then did we really kind of get a sense of what was possible for us. And now we're in it. And thank goodness we are prepared with some ammunition and some armor and some protective mechanisms and new skills of precision that we can bring in. So, which then brings me to this conversation that has evolved since then, which is this masterclass that you're running. And I wanted to speak to you about that, because a lot of people get kind of caught up and stuck in what's available to them, and a lot of us kind of get caught up in these negative spirals, get caught up in our own mind play, and get caught up in our cultures and the people around us influencing us, and the business that we're in, and being able to just remove ourselves and actually see other possibilities, and actually then be able to tap into mechanisms that help us get more clarity and get allow us to play another level of the game. That's really what you wanted to bring to the audiences with your mastermind or masterclass. So tell us a little bit about what you're delivering there. What's the end result that people are can expect, and what kind of experience can they expect over? I think there's 4 videos that you're recording specifically in this training.
Well, first of all, I'd like to go back and just mention a little bit that you just tapped on with Breakthrough Mastery, because the reason why I put that event together was, and it's going to lead me to the High Performance Masterclass, because there are so many things in life now where we're getting stuck in the mind, and we can't think our way out of the problems, because usually it's the problem that got us into the thinking, or so it's the thinking that's got us into the problem. So what we've got to learn how to do is, so many of us go through life and we're having these breakdowns. Something happens in life, and all of it, life might be amazing, and we go around the corner and we've just got some news, or we've just had something happen, and all of a sudden, bam, we're breaking down again. And it could be something to do with the body, where now this thing is not being taken care of properly. This thing is being neglected. The very thing that we live in, which should be the most important thing for everybody to invest in, because as soon as this thing shuts down, the whole quality of life shuts down. So what I wanted to be able to do was to give people an experience where no matter what the area is where they're being challenged, it could be to do with their own body, it could be to do with their mind, it could be to do with their finances, it could be to do with their relationships, it could be to do with their career, it could be to do with them just not enjoying life, them being cut off from the truth, them not loving life, or them reaching a point where they're loving life, but now they want the next level. They want to break through to something more. You know, that they're not comfortable anymore where they're at. They want to start playing, life in a higher league. So the reason why Breakthrough Mastery was put together was to give people experiences where there's a cause and an effect. And you know this, like on that course, there's things I don't tell people what's coming up. And the reason why I don't tell people some of the things that are coming up is because I want it to be a surprise, because life is full of surprises and most people love the surprises that are coming. But if it's a surprise that some people call a problem, they don't like those ones. So, when I ask people, who likes surprises? And they put their hands up. I'm like, rubbish. You only like the ones that you feel good about. If you're not feeling good about it, you call it a problem, then you go into the poor me story, and then life starts on this downward spiral. So what I wanted to be able to do is, as people on this downward spiral, instead of having them going down and down and down and down, I wanted to be able to reverse the whole thing up. So we can literally put that whole mechanism in reverse. And what happens is, instead of having this breakdown, we experience this breakthrough. So you experience yourself, like one of the processes, I'm not going to explain to people what it is, but when you've done it in the past and you're very well read on this particular subject, which I'm not going to mention what it is, but it's something that gives us more energy. It puts the body into a fat burning mode. It allows us to think smarter. It ends up giving us more time. Now, all of these elements, it boosts our immunity. All of these positive side effects are things that most people won't relate to some of the processes that I'm taking people through. And this is how disconnected we are from the truth. And what I truly believe is that within every single human being, we've been encoded with certain things. Like most of what's happening inside your body right now, John, and anybody who's watching this, most of what's going on inside of you right now is all automated. The trillions of cells that make up your physical body. I mean, just try and get your head around that. About 100 trillion cells, and they're not a single entity. They're all they're like a factory. Each one's almost like a universe within itself. And within each one of them, they're working away so that you can have this physical experience, so that your 5 senses can absorb information, and then it can give you an experience. The challenge with that is a lot of people have got these, they're like sort of filters. They've got these, these filters in play, and all this information is coming through all of these filters. But the challenge is the filters that people have got in place, which we're going to call belief systems, they're just not serving people at the highest level. So what's happening is we're getting wired up in ways that is not connecting us to the truth. Now, we just have to look at humanity as a generalized society. With any species now that is contributing to its own destruction. Now, we wouldn't do that if we were connected to the truth. We just wouldn't do it. No one with half a brain cell is going to do that. And we've got trillions up here. So what I've learned is that when we connect people to this truth, what happens is immediately this abundance of energy that most people aren't used to, it starts to come in. And that's the truth. That children have this natural energy. Children naturally learn faster than most adults. Children naturally have more joy than most adults. Children speak the truth more than most adults. Children are in the moment more than most adults. So all these natural qualities, they didn't learn from their parents. They're inbuilt in them. But what we learn is that when you go from this innocent child of 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, at that point, after 7 years old, is when the child can start to think about their own thoughts. Up to that point, it's all just programming. Now, a lot of the ways that we're being programmed is disconnecting us from the truth. So at that event, I wanted to give people an experience where they could connect to the truth. And in that experience, as you found, miracles literally happen. We had people having the most unbelievable financial breakthroughs, like, Simon, 320,000 landed the day after the event. He called it a manifesting miracle. We had, people who had health conditions gone. We had people who were, dealing with major relationship challenges in their life, gone. We had people dealing with certain health challenges, gone. It doesn't matter what the challenge is. When we can learn to take ourselves into these high frequencies. Now, I don't want to get weird or woo-woo-y, but just like on these phones, if we're listening to a radio station and we don't like it, we press a button and we tune into a different frequency. When we tune into that different frequency, we just receive something different. It's all it is. And what I've learned through, and this is through the biggest challenges that, I've gone through. And one of them, you mentioned at the beginning where I got told, had broke my back doing gymnastics and got told I was never going to walk again. And, when you go through an experience where in those moments, it's not just what your senses pick up, it's what you're choosing to create inside, whether you're conscious of it or not. And what I was choosing to create inside was depression. What I was choosing to create inside was being a victim, being a poor me, looking at me in a way where I wasn't connected to the truth. What I was connected to was a poor me story. And some people go, oh yeah, but you was right to feel that, you've gone through a hell of a, some big challenges. And I was like, no, it's our right to feel unbelievable, because we can choose that. What people don't understand is that we always have a choice, because we can choose what we want to focus on and what we want to feel. This is what most people don't understand. So learning some of the things that I learned back then when I went through the depression and I went through the belief of believing that I was never going to walk again, and then choosing a different belief system and choosing to focus on different things in the moment, which affected my mind, it affected my body, and it affected how life or spirit or the universe or God or whatever you want to call it, how that breathed through me. And when I noticed those major shifts, when you've been bottom of the barrel, really bottom of the barrel, coming up and going through anger is heaven when you've been in depression. It really, because now you're feeling energized. Okay, it's a toxic energy. But if you understand the emotional scale, then there's progression there. And this is why, if we have people freaking out at the events, we hold space for it, but they don't last. What they do is they're moving through all these frequencies until they end up with joy, happiness, love, being adventurous, being spontaneous, being friendly, being compassionate. All these qualities are natural. And when we get ourselves into those states and we start making decisions from those states, everything changes. So that's what I did with myself, and went back to gymnastics and got the English Sports Acrobatics Championship title. But the reason why I mentioned that story is not to say, oh yeah, look what Skip did, amazing. It's to say, look, I'm just a human being like you, and we're all going to be challenged. But what I've learned through my challenges is that there's so much more greatness within us. And as you noticed, John, through a protocol that you've been doing for, I'm not going to mention what it is, but you must have been doing it for at least 10 years, that type of protocol. And then when you come and you go through it at Breakthrough Mastery, totally different experience. Now you're being energized. Now you're starting to get this mental clarity. Now you're starting to be activated where you're like, hang on a minute. I've done this process so many times, because it's not what you do in life, it's how you do it. So I wanted to give people this experience on Breakthrough Mastery where they could literally experience what breaking through in every single area of their life would feel like. And it isn't just something that we do within the mind. We do it by getting the body, the mind, and the spirit all in alignment and all activated, so that now they can start to function in these higher states of consciousness. So because of the results that we've seen on people, there were so many people saying, look, Skip, we can't get to your events. How can we learn some of the stuff that you're teaching? And that's why I wanted to put together this high performance mind masterclass series, where by people just tuning in, the first point of any change in anyone's life is having a new type of awareness. Without us bringing a new type of awareness on our radar, where wherever anyone is at in their life, there's always the next level. And the next level means that, if you ask, when the student is ready, the teacher will show up. It's just law. And if there are people, you know, watching this who are ready to really take their life to the next levels, then in this High Performance Mind Masterclass series, we're going to cover so many of the areas where people may think that they're making certain choices that may be empowering their life, or what they might be doing is they're going to say, right, I want this in my life, but somehow they keep self-sabotaging themselves, or they're just not reaching where they want to reach in life, and something is stopping them. Something has them keep hitting the wall, and they just can't break through. So I wanted to put this this formula together so that when people go through this, and as you said, you know, we're working on all the content that's going to go, you know, when we go live with it, we're working on all the content that's going to be within each one of these videos. And John, they are jam-packed. They're going to be interactive. It's not going to be something where people can just listen to on a podcast, because it's going to have me there, but we're also going to be doing things with the screens where people need to see the screens, because what I want to be able to give in that short time period that we have together, it's going to be around sort of 50, 60 minutes. Within that time period, a picture says 1,000 words, and there's so much that we can learn by listening, but we can learn by whatever it is that our senses pick up. And one of the best ways that we learn is by visual, is by looking at things, is by absorbing things. So we want people to be able to listen to what I've got to say, but we also want them to be able to look at the screen as well, because what that's going to allow them to do is going to allow them to absorb that information that I'm sharing, and to allow it to go in deeper, so that when it goes in deeper, it can give them that jolt. It can give them that something. So all of a sudden they can go into more awareness. They can go into, right, this makes sense. I wanted this, but I kept self-sabotaging myself because of this. Now I understand why. And at that point where we can start to understand the truth, because that's what this is all about, John. It's reconnecting us to the truth, that most people in the modern world, we're so disconnected from this truth. And when we connect to it, a life of miracles start to breathe through these people who get it. And we have to, you know, you can't fake this stuff. You know, the basic principles that I'm covering are, we want to live in a body that's powerful. What's going on in the modern world now is we're seeing so many diseases in the body. They're saying 2 out of every 3 people now are going to get a cancer, heart disease, or a diabetes. What they're now saying is that 90% of most people's thoughts in today's world, this is coming from Dr. Joe Dispenza, they're negative thoughts. Now, also from yesterday, 80% of the thoughts that we had yesterday, we're bringing into today. So something's got to interrupt those patterns. Something's got to interrupt these destructive patterns, or these destructive mechanisms that we've got going. And that's what I'm hoping that these masterclass series are going to do. It's going to interrupt people's conditioning. It's going to interrupt their present thinking. It's going to interrupt what's not working, and introduce them to a formula where, when they see this formula, and they're going to realize, right, I can take back control of this body. There's just a few simple things that I need to put into place, and I want to make it easy for them. I want to make it fun for them. We've got to be able to take back control of our mind, because if we don't take back control of our mind, then our mind is going to be programmed by the news. It's going to be programmed by broken systems. It's going to be programmed by broken people, you know, people that we may connect to, like friends and family. And then we start to become broken, and we start to operate from that presupposition, and we wonder why our life is not working. And it's only not working because this thing that we live in, we haven't programmed it as effectively as we can. So we're going to deprogram ourselves from some of that stuff. We're going to go through a lot of mind stuff to reprogram ourselves. Then we're going to start to allow, and what we were talking about earlier, we're going to allow this abundance of energy to breathe through us, because there's energy everywhere. But I want to connect people to their own mental energy, where they can understand how powerful that is, their own emotional energy, and they can understand how powerful that is when they're back in control, where they can connect to the energy of the planet, they can connect to the energy of their body, they can connect to the energy of the universe, they can connect to the energy of the sun, they can connect to the energy of so many different areas of life where we're going into. But what we're doing is, these areas of life, they end up sucking energy out of us because of the way that we're wired up. What would happen if every single challenge that people went through actually became their fuel, actually became their blessing, actually became something that could empower them to take their life from wherever they're at up to the next level and beyond? And that's what I want to help people with as we go through these masterclass series, so that every day becomes a fun adventure. And I don't say that lightly, because I live it.
I love that. I love it. Thank you, Skip. Yeah, it is a massive challenge, and the challenge being when you're in it, it's hard for you to see the perfection of that. I have that one saying that I use, and I've used it for many, many years, and I keep challenging myself with it, which is my job is to see the perfection in all the imperfections around me. So, and the imperfections are is what I'm observing, these things that are not right, or that's wrong, or I've done something wrong, or this is not showing up the way that I'd like it, like I've just failed in doing that, or whatever it is. My job is to see the perfection in that. And when we're in the middle of it, I've got to say, I don't really have the patience of myself to stop and look for the perfection. So yeah, being able to feel that and be conscious of that, and stop and breathe for a moment, and that beautiful space between stimulus and response that they talk about. If you can increase that between that stimulus of whatever it is, and then the way that you respond, you can just sit in that space and observe it. Be the observer on the bank of the river flowing by, rather than being that person that's in the rapids, like getting thrown around. That's the time, and those are the moments, those are the points where you can sit without being attached to whatever's going on, and then see what is there for you, what the perfection is, what is being shown to you. And if our understanding is that nothing is happening to us, everything is happening for us, then we become curious and we go, well, okay, if this is happening for me, then what is that? And then you can start playing with it. And at the same time, we've got to get to that shift in our mindset of going into the drama, because we're fucking great at drama. Humans love drama. So I know that's a big part of it, like understanding that the habits that we have. I think that's one of the titles of the one of the trainings, which is the habits that are absolutely destroying our lives. And that's one of the habits. We go straight to drama, and then we enroll everybody, and everybody loves getting enrolled into drama.
And everyone gets sucked into this whirlwind of craziness and madness, and there's no truth in it. It's just like an energy cycle that's got momentum, but it's not going anywhere because it's not directed. So when we take back control, because this is what I want people to understand, because all the things that you just said, it resonates with me so much. But I put myself in the position of, right, the person who is watching this, like you said, when they're in it, they might be thinking, yeah, but you don't understand, you guys are just living in luxury, and it's all right for you guys because you don't have to deal with what I've got to deal with every single day. I think we've been there. Every single person who I know who is able to achieve success again and again and again, they've built the muscle. They've learned that when they're challenged, that they can go through the challenge and they can accept it. And I know it's not easy. It's not easy. It's, the easy thing is to back away. The easy thing is to do nothing. The easy thing is to not get down the gym and train, because it's easy to be lazy. But what people need to decide is, what outcome do you want? What do you want to experience? And if you get rid of all the stupid belief systems that we've allowed ourselves to pick up, and we just say, right, at this moment in life, let's just draw a line right now. Let's leave the past in the past. Whatever's happened, let's just leave it there just for this conversation. From this moment on, if you decided, whatever you said, right, I want this for my body, I want this for my career, I want this for my relationships, I want this for me, to be my experiences in life, and you couldn't fail. You just couldn't fail. All you had to do was learn what was needed so that you could become the person, so that you can be in a great body. And it's not just about being a body that looks good. I'm talking about being in a body fundamentally, first of all, where you learn to give the body what it needs so that your own immunity goes up. That's the most important thing. All these viruses that are going around at the moment, it's insane. insane the amount of fear that is going through society at the moment. Like, I'm connected over here to 30 of the top marketeers in the UK. And we're on this little WhatsApp group, and we're sharing stuff all the time. And the amount of numbers that have gone down at live events in the UK, where people are paying for an event. So this is not a free event. This is people who are paying for an event, and they're now not showing up because people are now starting to get scared of this virus. It's unbelievable. The amount of fear that people can be put into. And then when you're in fear, guess what? You can be controlled. Not only can you be controlled, but when you're in fear, do you think fear, let's talk about things of being a high vibration, good vibes, health, wellness, success, love, happiness, adventures, all these things that happen up here, down here. This is where the pain is. This is where you can be controlled. This is where viruses are. This is where illness is. This is where depression is. This is where blame and shame and all this stuff, all down here. We don't want low vibration stuff. We want high vibration. And the way you get into high vibration is to get in the truth. And when you get in the truth, what will happen is you're going to learn how to start to tune your frequency based on some of the things that I'm going to be teaching you, because what I'm not going to be doing is just dumping more information in the mind, because what we're starving of in today's world is people living with wisdom. We're living this illusion, and it isn't wise anymore because it's destructive and it's not eco-friendly and it's not sustainable. So the only things that are sustainable are things that are connected to the planet, things that are connected to the universe. You look at nature. Nature's been around before humans. It will be around after humans if we don't get what I call a consciousness shift. When we tune our frequency and we start to go into these high levels, these high states of consciousness, we start to make different decisions. We start to make decisions that, first of all, they're going to serve your mind and body. You're going to serve your mind and body with good thoughts, thoughts that serve you, thoughts that make you well, thoughts that boost up your immunity, thoughts that get you focused on what's real for you. What was a dream that you once had that you may have given up on? But that dream is still bubbling under the surface. You may have just put something over it and say, I haven't got the power to make this dream come true. I haven't got this strength. It's too big for me. And what you do is you start to lower your own energy. You start to lower your own dreams. You start to lower your visions. And what you then start doing is you start communicating to the universe, I'm not worth an abundant lifestyle. I'm not worth, becoming financially free. I'm not worth living in a great body. I'm not worth being in great relationships. It's not worth, for me traveling around the world. It's just, I can't see how it's going to happen. Great. Let's now get the universe involved and bring in this abundance of energy. Let's bring in this abundant mindset and start to dream bigger. And when we dream bigger, all of a sudden in those moments, new stuff starts to work through us. And so many people in this life, they feel alone. And the reason why they feel alone is they're disconnected from the truth. When we connect people to that truth, their mind changes, their body changes, their energy changes. And all of a sudden, the decisions that they make start to change, and they start to wake up every single day designing the life that they want to live, where a body's going to be powerful, the mind's going to be powerful. They'll make powerful decisions. They're going to create powerful relationships. And all of a sudden, when you create powerful relationships, now you can start to get through the challenges that life throws at you with grace and elegance and balance, and come out the other side enriched and more connected to this truth. Because now you're going to realize that, like what you said earlier, life is happening for you, even though you may be challenged at the moment. When you connect to that truth and you get through your challenges, you can look back and go, I can connect the dots and realize I needed to go through that challenge so that I could learn this and this and this and this. And the road doesn't have to be a road of drama. We don't have to tell these stories. We don't have to go into the victim story and go and share that with other people. When we learn that we have all the answers inside, but the only way that we can go and find these answers is by tuning our frequency so that we can go into a higher state of consciousness. It's the only answer. Because otherwise you're going to keep going to somebody else going, what would you do here? What's the answer here? and you're never going to step into your true power. And that's why I feel that these video series are going to be so powerful, because it's going to allow people to really step back into their own power.
Yeah, it's amazing. As the rain comes down to cleanse the earth, in the background, I just had a shower just blasting down here, so I was even struggling to hear you. It's just come down. That's amazing. I'm excited about what you're up to, Skip. I love the work. I love the mission you're on. I love the way you look at life. You know, you are an example of absolutely what's possible for people, no matter what position they find themselves in, no matter what level of depth of whatever you're experiencing. There is a whole different way, a different perspective that you can create and see it as. And I think a lot of people, you know, as you're saying, you know, people are living with negative thoughts, and so many people in depression, man. There's like so much depression going on, and it's, you know, it's so many people just getting caught up in these negative spirals. And I'm hoping that this is going to really impact people who are caught up in that and help them actually see a light on the other side. And for those who, you know, are just wanting to achieve something greater in their life than the mediocre version of what they've seen of themselves. Or somebody actually wants to just go to a level of performance that you may never have been at. You know, I know that you coach celebrities and stuff like that, and all of these guys, they want to take it to the next level, and they're dealing with their stuff as like everyone else does. And I just love the message. I love what you're up for, and I'm so grateful that you bring that to our audiences. I'm going to make sure I get this message out to my database and invite as many people as I can.
Just before we do finish off, John, I'd like to, because when it is specific and it's personal, it has more of an impact on people. And I noticed that when you and Estella was on Breakthrough Mastery, and we talk about like some of the breakthroughs that you two specifically noticed, because I noticed that when you were saying, like, before, when we go through this protocol, usually we're on a sofa, usually we're like, you know, we're exhausted, but what we're feeling here, this energy, this clarity, the visions that we're starting to get, the downloads that we're starting to get. And when I say downloads, you know, if people don't understand, you know, what we mean download, no different than how you download on here. When you tune into the right frequency, or you get that Wi-Fi connection, when there's an open connection, the download comes in easy. With us as humans, it's the same. When everything is aligned, the body, the mind, and the spirit is aligned, and we set our intention and we're clear on what we want in life. This is what I want people to understand. You've got to be clear on what you want. Otherwise, how can you get the universe behind you if you haven't worked out in your head? We've got to get it worked out in your head first. Then we get the universe behind you. And then all of a sudden, this wisdom, this knowledge, this information, this energy, it starts to come through. So can you talk through like what your experience around that was?
Yeah, so, you know, without giving too much away, definitely my experiences of going through different activations and processes in my life, which is a consistent journey that I've embarked on. My experience of it is, in general, as you're saying, it's usually an exhausting experience. There's a lot of time I take out, and I contemplate, and I sit with that, and I definitely, you know, when I came into the program, that was my expectation. That was definitely in my mind, that's the experience that I'm going to have. And what I observed with the days that we went through was just how in tune I could actually stay, and how activated I could stay through the whole time. You know, starting early in the morning and finishing you know, late in the afternoon into the early evening. And whereas in the past, when like your energy drops, and like you get to the afternoon and you want to take a nap, there's just ways of just retuning yourself back in, which just that just aligns you all, you know, everything into position, that just then has it all flowing again. And within literally, you know, 15, 20 minutes, like it happened so fast that like I was constantly catching myself going, wow, like just a moment ago, I started to feel a little bit like a little bit tired and a little bit kind of like hazy. And then we go through an activation, we go through a process, and next thing I know, I'm back tuned in. And it's like I was talking about that radio station. It's like you've got the knob there all the time, and you're trying to get just that exact frequency, and then it kind of goes out, and then you get in the static. So what you're doing, and my experience of it, is that you just allowing us to just turn that knob just to get it back onto that frequency, which then aligns it all in. And when you're in that, then you can just keep playing. You just keep playing. It's crazy. I don't know how else to express that. It's just the game. It's like extended play on those arcade games. Yeah, extended play, 25 seconds more. It's like, yeah, off you go. So like it feels like it. Like you feel like you're suddenly energized again, and off you go. And I guess a part of it is, for me, was when going through the process, was then what I was accessing, and what I was actually being able to do, which was outside of my at that moment my experience or my belief of what was possible for me, and being able to actually do physical things that I didn't expect to do, and also do spiritual things that I didn't expect to do. Abilities. So yeah, without giving too much away, the experience of the conversation that's about to have in certainly in the master classes, it's all it'll open up so many people to what's possible for them. And I think for most people, if not all of the people come on there, unless of course they've done a huge amount of work and they've gone down lots of other rabbit holes and done lots of work with other mentors and gurus, I think this will all be very new. Really, for the years that I've been practicing, the few years that I've been doing things, and yes, like I'll just talk about my meditations. Started when I was my beginning of my 30s, so that's 20 years of meditation, and being able to get connection to spirit better than I've done in any meditation in 20 years was quite extraordinary. So just knowing that this is available and accessible quickly, and you've definitely done the work, and you've all the people that you've worked with and who have mentored you, and then all of everything that you've then put into practice, that now that you're teaching, it gives people a whole different experience of life and what's possible in their life.
Awesome. And it really is that. It's I just want to sort of finish off here where there were times in my life when I couldn't see light at the end of the tunnel, and I didn't believe what was possible. And when we do, and we can use the word work or we can use the word play. I notice how you and I use the word play a lot, because when you get it and you do connect to this truth, what you realize is that it's all play if we allow it to be play. And that's a natural thing. You think about a child when it wakes up in the morning and it's in its cot, it just wakes up and it starts playing with the toys above its head. It doesn't wait for anyone to inspire it. Exploring, getting curious, fixing things, connecting with other people, joining forces, literally taking something from the fabric of your mind and pulling it into this reality and enjoying that process. All of these things are natural. This is what I want people to understand. This is how the game of life was set up, so that you can literally create anything you want in this physical reality. But the challenge is, so many of us were born into a world where very few people could be living examples of what a supercharged human being or a superhuman being can be, where we've got that body functioning well. We've got the mind really focused on what's important, and we learn how to free the mind when we have thoughts that we don't like. And at the same time, we can connect to this universal intelligence and have this source energy breathing through us all the time. most people don't know that when you get those things in alignment, that miracles will be born through people. Not might be, it will be. And when I say to people, like, living a life of miracles where it's at, that should be normal life. But most people don't know what they possess within themselves. They don't know the amount of potential that is waiting to breathe through them. All they've got to do is we call it the work, or we do the play, because there is play. But, if you want to build a great body, sometimes it's not going to be easy. But if you want to live a great life, same again, sometimes it's not going to be easy. However, I do want to say this. When people come, or if they come onto this high performance mind masterclass, what they're going to get connected to is their truth. They're going to understand that the path that I can connect people to is going to be the only path that they're going to want to walk through life on. Because whatever path we choose in life, whatever the path is, whether it's a path that you've chosen consciously or not, along that path, challenges are still going to happen. We're going to walk around the corner, and all of a sudden life is going to deal us a hand that we never predicted. We hadn't even planned for that area. And all of a sudden something's going to happen. If we don't do the work, it's too easy to be derailed. It's too easy to give up. It's too easy to go and try something else. Whereas when we're on our path and we've got that passion pulsing through us and we're on purpose, all of a sudden when those challenges happen, they're going to bounce off of us and we're going to carry on our path, because it's the only path that we want to be on. The path, some people call it the path of enlightenment. Some people call it the awakening. Whatever you want to call it, we all have our path in life. And to connect people to their truth so they can choose their path that they want to walk down, where they're going to have a kick-ass body, where they're going to have more strength, more flexibility, more love, more money, more passion, more adventures. They're just going to get more of life breathing through them. I don't think there's a better gift that we can share with people. And that's why I wanted to give this stuff away, is to connect people to that level of truth where they can start to wake up every single day and live life by their design, not by, going through life with default programs up here that just aren't working anymore.
Skip Archimedes, you're an inspiration. Thank you, my friend. Love you. Can't wait to see you live in full action on the 10th to the 13th of this month. So it's just about a week or so away. I'm sure it's going to be absolutely fully jam-packed with lots of people from all around the world. And let's change some lives let's shift the consciousness of our planet.
Well, absolutely. And even those that are watching, help us, like this, share this, comment below if there's anything that, was said today that resonated with you, let us know, because, this really is setting people free. And to have that level of freedom, it's not where we're not going to be challenged, but we're going to find our freedom through our challenges. So yes, please do like it, please share it. And we look forward to seeing you on the 10th, 11th, 12th and 13th.
I'll be sharing the link below in a moment. Lots of love. Speak soon.
Thanks, guys.